head coach of the Rams, Jeff Fisher, back on the show. Coach, you want to do Hard Knocks this year?
You know, I probably I have to give that some thought. I think I would prefer actually to maybe maintain a sense of privacy in our building, as most coaches would. But I think we'll cross that path if we need to.
Have you been asked?
No.
Okay, how does that work in the league, HBO, and the teams as far as negotiating or that process?
Well, there'll be some discussion. I mean, we had some discussion with the league last year with respect to that, and then kind of we voiced our opinion, and obviously it's a very, very it's an outstanding show. I think obviously our fans get the in-depth look at what's going on behind the scenes. But again, I'm just a day after the draft here, Dan. I got other things to concern myself with.
When did Michael Sam's name come up in the war room on the final day?
Oh, on the final day?
Yeah.
Probably we were about 4 or 5 picks away.
Did he come up prior to the final day?
Well, we discussed all the players. We rank players and evaluate players, and we do have December meetings with the scouts, and then you have your pre-combine meetings, and then your post-combine and draft meetings. And his name came up in each one of those. As a matter of fact, we had a interview with him at the combine.
His numbers weren't great at the combine. How much stock do you put into that as opposed to what you saw on tape in the SEC?
Well, you know what, Dan? Some guys' numbers weren't good. That they played better than they work out. Some guys work out better than they play, and you have to take that into consideration. But in Michael's case, it was the production on the field. He's the SEC Co-Defensive Player of the Year, and 19 tackles for losses and a handful of sacks, and he was just very productive. And so you can't neglect the production, and that's pretty much why he's a Ram now, because he's a very productive football player.
The significance of Michael Sam being drafted and not signing with the team as a free agent. Let's just look at that with the overall picture of the NFL. How important was it for Michael Sam to get drafted and not, come as a free agent?
Well, I think it was important for him, considering where we are, dealing with our social issues and inclusion and diversity. I think it was very important for him. But again, we drafted the football player, and I think that's important to point out. Is that as you get into that 7th round, you've got guys that are still up on your board that have significantly higher value, and we were fortunate with the compensatory picks to be able to grab players off the board that we felt fell in the draft.
He's Jeff Fisher, the Rams head coach, joining us, Dan Patrick Show. Did the league encourage teams to draft Michael Sam or understand the significance of this prior to the draft?
I think the league was hopeful that he would get drafted, but the league did not encourage. The league doesn't do that. The league allows us to make our own personnel decisions.
So no directives there. You didn't get any.
That's correct.
So the commissioner didn't talk to you and say, "Look, hey, you've got a pick there, and I know this be a great place for him, close to home." And I know you like him. That didn't happen.
Absolutely not. That did not happen. We had no contact with anyone at the league office with respect to any player for that matter.
When you look at bringing somebody in, we saw this with Tebow. Cleveland will have this with Johnny Manziel. The media attention that comes in with Michael Sam, how do you prepare? What do you do differently for what's going to happen over the next couple of months?
Well, we're gonna make all of our draft choices available tomorrow. We've made the decision to group them by days. So day 1 guys will be available, day 2 guys will be available, and the day 3 guys will all be available at the same time. And we're going to talk football, and then of course we're going to make Michael available after that because of the unique situation, and we'll deal with it. He's done an outstanding job dealing with it, since February. I mean, you saw. I thought he did a real good job at the combine in his interview after he disclosed the information, and so we're going to deal with it and move on. And at some point, it's going to be behind us, and we're going to deal with football.
I think you pointed out that you cut Walter Payton's son, that if Michael Sam can't play or doesn't live up to the standards and it's a stacked defensive line, no problem cutting him.
Well, absolutely. I mean, it's a process. I mean, he's a Ram because of the draft process, and now he's going to do the same thing everybody else is doing. The entire rookie class, including the college free agents, we're going to get them into shape. We're going to teach them our systems, and we're going to see how productive they can be between now and the end of the preseason. And unfortunately, you can't keep everybody. So Mike has the athletic ability to have a good shot at it, and he's going to have to take advantage of his opportunity.
What was the phone call like?
This phone call thing for every player that was drafted is really special, and we try to make it that way. As I've pointed out, there's a few things in life that are better than the phone call. It's probably having children, but it's an emotional call. I mean, we had all kinds of emotion throughout the draft with our prospects as well as everybody else that was drafted, and obviously it was emotional for Michael, and it was probably a little bit overwhelming. But once we got off the phone and he was able to settle down, got back on the phone with him about an hour and later, and he was very excited.
The whole 2 weeks later with the draft, is that a good thing or a bad thing for the NFL?
Well, I think everybody has their opinions. I look at it from just a player standpoint. 2 weeks longer, I think, makes it a little more difficult on the rookie class. We find that after the combine, their conditioning level and it tends to decline a little bit, and so I guess what I'm getting to is they're just that much more out of shape. So we have to assess them. We got to assess them, bring them in, and make sure that we don't subject them to soft tissue injuries and get them caught up with the varsity.
How much consideration did you give Johnny Manziel?
We worked Johnny out along with his other two teammates, and felt Johnny was a good player, and he's going to be an outstanding quarterback in this league. But we have a starting quarterback, and we felt from a draft standpoint we were probably better suited going a different direction with those picks. But
why would he tell Peter King he thought the Rams were going to draft him?
I don't know. I don't know where he got that, because we never will indicate to any player that we're going to draft them. We express interest in them and evaluate them, but at no time would we say to a player, "Hey, we're going to get this pick or that pick." That's unfair to the player. So I don't know. You're going to have to ask Johnny on that one.
Did you try to trade Sam Bradford?
No.
Okay, so that was
we made absolutely no calls with respect to that.
I thought the other story that has been overshadowed. Well, did you take phone calls on Sam Bradford?
No.
Okay, so you didn't.
We received none.
No, you received none as well. The Utah
correct.
State safety, Maurice Alexander. So he was a janitor, been a janitor with the Rams.
Great, Dan. This is a great story.
But it's been overshadowed, I think, Jeff. That's why I wanted to at least acknowledge it here before I said goodbye.
I appreciate that. Great story. A local St. Louis kid went to JC, went to Utah State as a linebacker, had an off-season incident where he got in a push and shove and ended up in a punch thrown with a teammate, a friend of his, and subsequently as a result, he was suspended for the season. He came back home to St. Louis, and in order to put food on the table, he got a job at the Dome as a janitor, and literally was cleaning up after our ball games during that season. In 2012, the Utah State University reinstated him, and that says a lot about the kid. And he went in there, and in July he started backpedaling and played safety for 1 year. So we're permitted to work out local players. We had him here at our facility, had to work out, and he's an outstanding young man. It's a great story.
You got his nickname's the janitor. I mean, he cleans up. That's you got to use that, right?
Well, yeah, he's a good football player. I think he's got a real good future ahead of him.
Look, congratulations on the overall draft, and we appreciate you joining us, Jeff. Thank you.
Always, Dan. Thanks so much.
All right, Jeff Fisher, Rams head coach.